Hopefully I filmed this kind of in order unlike last time, but let's see how we go. So first off, I started the month. There's a couple of things going on this month. First off, I decided to participate in BookNetAthon, which is hosted by my friend KJ. It's a bingo board where you read books inspired by different, in this iteration, booktubers, but the plan is to have like book bloggers and book twitters and all kinds of things in the future. It's the bingo board. I'll try and remember to put it here. It kind of looks like this. It has some free spaces. It's really cool. So I had that in the back of my mind when I filmed the Bookopoly Deal. But obviously this is still Bookopoly Deal, chooses my TBR. So I went into Bookopoly Deal panicking, and this is what happened. Hi, I made a mistake, and that mistake was to think too hard about my potential TBR for BookNetAthon. So I've decided, even though it's like barely middle of the month, we're gonna do this. We're doing Bookopoly Deal today. Oh boy. Oh, go back in there. I'm not sure if this frame's going to be the best. We'll have a fiddle around with it and see what happens, but I might have to bring you up a bit to get a bit more of what's going on in shot, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to shuffle a bit more off camera. This is a bit easier to do. Let's do this. Let's see what we get. Okay, first card is Waterworks. I'll stick things out here, but I'll give you an overview once we've drawn them all. First up, we drew Waterworks, which is a first in a series from my 2019 backlist purchases. And so for that I picked The Wren Hunt by Mary Watson. This is the first in a duology. I don't know too much about the actual plot. I think there's a game in the woods, you know, a hunt. I'm pretty sure April gifted this to me. Or maybe she gifted me the sequel, I can't remember. But it is, I think it's an Irish author. Shortlist of the Irish Book Awards. I've heard interesting things. I'm intrigued by it. I have both the first and second one. So that's why I picked this one off my shelf. Second card is some cash. I'll chuck that down here today, I think. Oh. An action card, a sly deal. I know April's had a sly deal before, but I haven't. So this means, because I'm pretty sure this is the first time, that I get to switch out any prompt for a free book. I'm going to store it under here, but we'll apply it at the end and see what we're going to apply it to. Next one. Oh my god. This is a wild card. Stations or utilities. Did you notice what we already had here? Of course. I did. Actually, this is good because my planned TBR for what I could put in for BookNetAthon is insane. So, and we only had one cash, and we have this sly deal. So I could switch out the prompt for either of these if I didn't like it. That's where we're at. Oh my god. I did a practice run of this like a week ago when I was bored, and I got like 15 books. And here we are with a whole 2. And one of them is a free pick. Sometimes Bookopoly Deal just likes me, alright? The other card, so this next card was the wild card Mint and Black. So I think that was a 2019 release or a 2019 backlist or a 2020 release. We also had the sly deal, which meant I could technically pick out anything for a free pick. But I decided to roll with it in this case and pick a 2020 new release, and that is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winters. This is going to tie in to obviously the BookNetAthon. This one, not for BookNetAthon, still got to read it anyway. But the next Bookopoly card was this, but also because we got 2 of the utilities, that's it. That's all of Bookopoly Deal. We hardly got any cash. Like, I don't know what's going on, but Bookopoly Deal this month was like, you get a free pass. So my 2 Bookopoly Deal books for this month are these 2. So that's my minimum requirement that I have to get done. I am done, if you're curious, with all of Bookopoly Deal's picks for April. But so for May, these are our Bookopoly Deal picks. So let's now move on to, oh, and there's a couple of other things I have to talk about. A couple of other things that are just random things before we get into my BookNetAthon TBR. Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson is the book that April and I are reading together this month. It is a standalone Cosmere book, and I think the magic has all to do with colours. I don't know that much about the plot, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited. So that's on the TBR. Also for Books and Lala's buzzword reading challenge, the buzzword for this month is house or home. So for that I'm going to be reading Winterborn Home for Mayhem and Mystery by Ali Carter. So this is the other random thing that I have to read. Alright, so let's jump in to the TBR for BookNetAthon. There are a few other things above and beyond that I want to read, but we're going to start with that. So I'm going to try and complete this line down the side here. So we have, if I'm remembering correctly, the order, Bear from Etu Brody, which for that I'm going to so up first here we have Bear from Etu Brody. For the, to cross off Bear's box, I'm going to be reading Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones. My association between Bear and this, Bear loves Stephen Graham Jones in general, but they're also both Indigenous creators. I guess you would call an author a creator. And I thought that was a good connection. I've read a lot of Stephen Graham Jones before. This is one I have on my Kindle that I haven't read yet. So that was my association with this. Plus, if you see the rest of this TBR, I've got some big books on it, so I need something relatively short, and this is relatively short. Then we have, is it Maddie next from Book Browsing Vlog? I'm going by memory. The rest I won't be able to tell you at the slots of. I'll just be telling you people, but I think next we have Maddie from Book Browsing Vlog. And I'm sure I'm not, I know I'm not the only one doing this because KJ is also doing this, but are we going to read these before Maddie even reads this? Yes, but this is XX by Ryan Hughes, and it has appeared on Maddie's TBRs many a time, and it's become a bit of a joke. So KJ and I are both reading this month. We're going to buddy read it together right at the start of the month. I'm scared, but we're going to do it. This is a sci-fi mixed media book, so hopefully it won't be as daunting as it feels. It is like 900 and something pages. 980 pages, but it is mixed media. So we're going to try and tackle it in a week, but we'll reassess if we're really struggling, and it might be 2 weeks, but yeah, that's the plan. Then underneath that we have Becca from Becca in the Books. I'm going to be listening to Fortuna Sworn by, wait, who writes Fortuna Sworn? Is it, it's not KJ Sutton, is it? It is KJ Sutton. So I'm going to be reading Fortuna Sworn for this prompt. This is a dark fairy romance. I have not had an extreme interest in this, but this just jumped to mind immediately when I thought of Becca, and it's available on Scribd as an audiobook, so I'm going to be listening to the audiobook of this. And finally down this line we have Aaron from Booked and Busy, and I'm going to be reading The Rage of Dragons for Aaron. I know Aaron really enjoyed this. On a further extension, like, I don't want to feel like I'm like categorizing people by race or anything, but Evan Winter is a Black author, so we're going to be reading this for Aaron. I feel like I first saw this on Aaron's channel, and I've heard great things about it, so I'm excited. But again, it's chunky. So we already have XX, we already have Warbreaker that I'm reading with April, and we're doing this. So okay, so Then we go on to the rest of the board. The rest of the board I have a lower priority for. Like, I'm not pressed if I don't get to them. We're going to start with those 4 and then work our way out from there. But we have Cat from Paperback Dreams. It's the first one on my little written list I have here. I'm just going random. I can't remember what the order was on the thing. This is the most stretch of a prompt, but to me, Kat is associated with thrillers. I know she hasn't read a thriller in a while, but that's my association with her. And I know this is not the kind of thriller she would read at all. This is the young adult thriller, and I don't think she's really into young adult thrillers. But I'm reading The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which I think is going to be really fun. I know April read it and really enjoyed it recently, and I'm very excited. I know the sequel's coming out soon, so I really want to read this. Then next on my list I have Free Space, which I am filling with Fadwa from Word Wonders. I love Fadwa, and I really want to read Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. What is this author's surname? Morgan Rogers. They're a non-binary author. This is a sapphic, like, she's got a PhD, which is why one of the reasons I want to read it. I got this through my LGBTQ+ subscription. I don't have it in my hands yet, but I'm expecting it to arrive any day. So I want to read Honey Girl. I'm so excited. It's a romance. It looks so good, and I know Fadwa read it and loved it. Next we have Bookish Realm. I don't watch a lot from Bookish Realm, but in the past, but I am subscribed to them, and I watched their 100 books they think you should read before you die, and I was hunting for something that was already on my TBR that I could pick up. And conveniently, Legendborn was on our list, and I'm so excited to read this. This is by Tracy Dion. It's an Arthurian inspired fantasy, and a lot of people have compared it to Shadowhunters in its pacing and style. So I'm really excited about that. I'm very excited to read this. Then we have Kayla from Books and Lala. I know Kayla's in the top corner. I can't remember what other order I didn't really do an order, and I can't remember where people sit, but Kayla's in the top corner. For Kayla, I'm going to be reading Mr. Impossible by Maggie Stiefvater, which will be coming out at the start of May, which is the second in the Ronan trilogy from the Raven Cycle. If there's a bigger Raven Cycle stan than Kayla from Books and Lala, I don't know it. Next up we have Jade from JD Ray Reads, and for Jade, I felt like I had to read a middle grade. I'm going to be reading A Tangle of Spells by Michelle Harrison, which is the third and final book in the Pinch of Magic series. I really enjoyed this series. It's really sweet and fun. We follow 3 sisters, and they're kind of like exposed to magic, and I don't know, it's really good. I really enjoyed the first 2. I can't wait to read this one. Then we have Gav from How to Train Your Gammon, which I also had to read a middle grade for. So we're going to pop this on. I don't think Gav would have read this, but I needed to fit it somewhere on the TBR. I needed to minimize my additional things that weren't on this TBR. So we're reading this for Gav. Gav is a middle grade master. This is a middle grade. It counts, right? It counts. Then there's a spot for a small or newbie booktuber, and I'm going to shout out my best friend Paige from Pages with Paige in this spot, and I'm going to be reading A Heart in the Body in a World by Deb Coletti on audiobook. It's on Scribd. This absolutely destroyed Paige when she read it. I remember her sobbing, so I'm very excited to try this. It's a hard-hitting contemporary. I think it will make me cry, so I'm going to read that. We were literally just talking about it before I did this TBR, and I was like, I might do that. Then we have Petite Punk, which is a booktuber I haven't watched from before, but I've subscribed now and I'm enjoying their content. This is a I watched their romance recommendations, and they were genre romance recommendations, but books with romance. But she did mention Heartstopper Volume 1 on here, and Volume 4 comes out in May. So I'm not going to be reading Volume 1, but I'm going to read Volume 4 of Heartstopper. This is a young adult rom-com kind of book, contemporary, following Nick and Charlie from Solitaire by Alice Oseman. So this is their like, it's a webcomic that's been published. Next up, I have Let Me in the Library. I wasn't subscribed to them either, but I was really interested. I watched one of their recent TBRs, and this book was on it, and I have it, so I'm going to read that for this prompt. And this is Blaze Wraith Games by Amparo Ortiz. This is a competition with dragons. I'm so excited. I keep saying Blaze Wraith. I think it's Blaze Wrath. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this. So we're gonna try and read that this month. Then for Monica from Monica Kim, I'm gonna read Bunny. By who wrote Bunny? I can't even remember. But Bunny was her least favorite book of the year last year. But I'm really interested in it. This could also work for Kayla, but I'm gonna put it for Monica. Because looking at Monica's favorites of the year were all stuff I'd read. So we're going for this one. And this is by Mona Awad. I don't know what I'll think of it. It's on Scribd, the ebook, so I'm gonna read it on ebook. Then for Elias, I went through Elias's favorite books of last year, I think, and Vita Nostra popped up. Who's this by? Shit, I didn't even look that up. I know this is available on audiobook from Scribd. I have kind of liked it in a like, oh, that looks interesting, by Marina Diachenko. I'm not sure what I'll think of this. I think it's like a dark academia. But I don't know that much about it, but I'm gonna listen to it. It looks cool. Sorry, my vacuum dressing is still farting. Then finally, for the final spot on the board, we have Sarah from novel Serendipity. And in a recent 5-star predictions video, she talked about Faithless Hawk by why am I blanking on authors' names today? I think it's Margaret Owen. This is the sequel to The Merciful Crow, which I liked, but I didn't absolutely like breathtakingly love. So I haven't purchased a physical copy of book 2, but the audiobook is available on Scribd, so I'm going to listen to it and see what I think. And if I really, really enjoy it, I might pick up the physical book because the covers are gorgeous. So that's The Faithless Hawk. Obviously, I also have to do my standard meet different sections from different parts of my shelf. And one of these just really wanted to read, and I wanted to be prioritizing it, and I've been trying to fill it on a TBR, but I'm just going to read it to fill this section. I'm not going to draw it from the jar. And that is Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. This is the first book in, I think it's going to be a trilogy, but the second book's already out. And I want to buy it, which means I have to read it. That's kind of how it works in this house. So this is an African-inspired fantasy. She's a witch doctor, and she doesn't have magic, but she needs magic to be the queen, and she finds a way to steal it, I think. I'm really excited for this. I've been hyped since it came out. I just haven't had a chance to get around to it, so I'm gonna be reading this very soon. I'm gonna prioritize it this month and buy the second one. I also have to pick something from my like veterans section each month. Whether I read it or not is another question, but I have to pick something, and I'm going to pick Golden Hand by Garth Nix. The next book in the Old Kingdom series is going to be coming out later in the year, so I thought it was a good opportunity to get this off my shelf to put that one on. And this is set after the original trilogy, I think. Yes. So it's set after the original Old Kingdom trilogy. The first one in these like extended universe ones was a prequel. This is a sequel. Oh, Trixie. So I'm going to be trying to read this. There's a lot to get through, but we'll see if we can get there. And then we drew some things from jars. So here's that clip. Okay, so taking into account the things that I think I'm going to read for BookNetAthon, because I've kind of like planned out a TBR, the two like parts of my bookshelf that we haven't picked from are these two jars. So one is the 2019 new releases. I've only picked one from that section. I normally pick two. The other one is 2020 backlist purchases. So I'm pretty sure this is the 2019 releases. So let's draw one thing from here. Oh, I'm really tempted to unhold this book. You know what? Just screw it. I don't want to read it. I'm gonna unhaul it. And this one. Oh my god, I kind of want to unhaul that too. I'm just not going to include that clip because I really don't want to read that right now and have to make too many ethical decisions. Oh, we've drawn this out before, but we're drawing it out again. It is Winterwood. It's a bit chaotic. I probably cut bits out, but we drew from my 2019 releases a section which Kingdom of Souls was from, but I still needed another book from that section, and we drew out Winterwood by Shea Earnshaw. I can't remember if this was the first thing I drew out or if there's something I drew out that I specifically didn't want to pick. I can't remember anymore, but I think there might have been one that I'd already read. And then there was one that I decided to unhaul. That's right, one I'd already read, one I decided to unhaul, and then we finally got this one. This is Shea Earnshaw's second book. I didn't absolutely love The Wicked Deep, but I didn't not enjoy it. And I think this will be much more up my vibe, so I am excited to read this. We'll see if I get to it. I put them back in the jar because I'm mine and I end up getting to them, so just play it safe. Here we go. Get in there. What's this one? I don't want to read that. And then for the other jar, it was a bit chaotic because I really didn't want a middle grade because we already had 2 middle grades here on this list, and I like to kind of save them for middle grade readathons. And so I didn't want to go overboard with middle grade, but I ended up drawing out Winter by Marissa Meyer, and this I did just read the Lorvana story. What was it called? I can't even remember. I think only last month, but I'm going to I'm going to try and read this month. This is the final book in the Lunar Chronicles. I have been listening to these on audiobook, so I've reserved it from my library. Currently says it's coming in right at the start of June, but it might obviously get to me earlier. So if it does, I will read it. Otherwise, I'll obviously read it at the start of June. I am excited for it. I've enjoyed this series so far. I do love these artworks on these editions. Yeah, that's my plan, but we'll see. Obviously, if the audiobook doesn't come in time, I'm not going to read it. I'll read it in June, but we'll see what happens. So those are all the books that I read in the month, that I'm going to be reading in the month of May. And for BookNetAthon, keep an eye out for some BookNetAthon vlogs because I'm going to try and do that. I'll be doing reading vlogs out of the month, hopefully. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!